Councillor Kevin Johnson. I'm the portfolio holder for Housing, Regeneration and Business at Sunderland City Council, and I'm here today with Dennis Tueart to talk about the city and the transformation we're going through at the moment, and to maybe tell you some of the stories that Dennis has had of being in Sunderland with the 1973 Cupman inside, and also to witness the transformation that's taken place across the city centre, and Dennis's input on that as well. Dennis.
Well, you know, 73 was a fantastic achievement by not just the team, by the city. The city got with the team, and their support was just as important as the performance on the field was the performance off the field. So we were a joint venture, so we were a real joint venture to win that 73 Cup final. I'm delighted it's we're still honoured by the people of Sunderland, and they remember those days and to be successful. And then, you know, unfortunately I left in 74, went to Manchester City because, you know, unfortunately the club didn't have the vision to take that team on to the next stage. So my career needed to go to the next stage, and then had a great time at Manchester City. Won the 1970 League Cup final when we beat Newcastle at Wembley and managed to score the winning goal with an overhead kick. So that, again, one of my memories. And then New York Cosmos approached me, turned down Man United, turned down Brian Clough and Nottingham Forest. I just fancied the boom in America at the time. Pelé had gone there, Beckenbauer, Carlos Alberto, both World Cup winning captains, and I just fancied a real explosion. And we didn't have any children, my wife and I, so it was a real experience. And then we went off to New York. 2 great years. Won the championship the first year, beat Tampa Bay Rowdies at New York, the New York Cosmos Stadium, the Giant Stadium in New Jersey. Got 2 goals in the final, beaten 3-1 in front of 75,000 people. So it was a boom at that time. Really enjoyed it. And it was interesting to see how originally that concept came through, because in 72, that area where they built the stadium and there's a racetrack there was swampland, and they built the Giant Stadium and the racetrack on a complete swampland. Now if you go there now, they pulled Giant Stadium down, they built a bigger stadium, because there was 2 big area where the car parking was. We shared the car parking. That an indoor arena, but now if you look at, anyone looks at the Meadowlands Sports Complex in New Jersey, you'll see the redevelopment. But the lead tenant was the stadium, the football, the racetrack, the indoor arena where they had tennis tournaments, and that was the lead tenant, and they got everybody coming in. Now it's a booming area.
So you can see that the anchor tenant is then developed around in terms of businesses, housing, everything that goes with.
Absolutely, I think it's called the American Dream. There's fun fairs, there's shopping centres, there's everything. It's now developed as what I call an event destination. You know, so people get used to going there for a multi-purpose of things, whether it be theatre, sport, shopping, leisure, anything.
And it will be one of the World Cup stadiums in 2026, or potentially.
2026. The MetLife Stadium is been dedicated. I'm hoping to be there for the final. So I'm looking that maybe Thomas Tuchel can get us there for 2026 Cup final.
So it'd be great to see some England fans attending the stadium.
Absolutely, and you know, and what we're doing, that image when I came back to City, and then obviously retired, and then got involved in the video conference production business, and then all about theatre presentations, helping the companies promote their brands or launching their products. I've launched kit for Adidas, Umbro, for the British Olympic Committee, for Reebok, for Philips Whirlpool, Mars Confectionery. I've done all the various launches on their products, and I see the value of a destination and a promotion of your brand with a theatre aspect of it in a conference environment. So when I was offered to asked to become a non-executive director at Manchester City in 1998, it was a big surprise. Because I was successful in business. I had 3 children, I had a retail travel agency, I had a small property company, had my video conference production, so I was quite busy to say the least. But I couldn't resist. You know, football's in my blood. Come from Newcastle, had a great 7 years at Sunderland, and then going to Manchester City and seeing what happens with the supporters, and you can't get that football element and that support out of your blood. But you see now, the Etihad, I've got some corporate places at the Etihad Stadium now, and I see what's happening around. You know, we've got the Co-op Live Stadium, we've got a link in from the city, on the Met line comes out to the stadium, to that area, and it's very similar to what's happened in New York so many years ago. That lead tenant is driving the fans, the supporters into that area.
Yeah, and I think obviously the transformation we're seeing now across the city in the stadium, right, is really going to be quite a big part of that in terms of visual aspect as well. But the regeneration that's going on at Sunderland, you can see comparisons to what happened with the Etihad and other places in the world where you've been as well.
It was unbelievable, especially Etihad, because when I was told as a director that we're thinking about moving to a new stadium, I said, where's that? I said, Beswick. North Manchester, where's Beswick? It was a downtrodden, unbelievable. There was a pit, there was a gasworks. It was like when we paid a lot of money for decontaminate the site before we could build, and we got, you know, because of Commonwealth Games over 2003, we got a lot of government money, we got a lot of good council money. We got £28 million for selling Main Road to the council.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of investment going in there. But indirectly, since that stadium, that area, the residential has developed, all the aspects of leisure generally have developed. You've got the Mayfield Depot, which is like an in place for the Generation Z, parties, clubs, and all sorts, and they're all linked in.
I know in Sunderland, obviously, we've got Homes England, which is supporting us, the council, private investors as well, and the club itself. So it'd be great if that continues, and hopefully at some point we might have Premier League football with fans going over the new footbridge on our own Wembley Way to see football games. So that would be quite a spectacle to see as well.
Well, absolutely. What you've got an ultimate ambition, and you can see what you're doing now. I've just stood here and look out over the area here, and look at the fabulous layout of the area you've got there. You know, it's an ambition, and you can see a target, and you can see you've got the stakeholders, the right stakeholders involved in the process. And that's what you need, the right stakeholders who believe in the project, who are prepared to fund it because they can see their growth of their own little businesses, because it's no good bringing people in, spend the money and saying you're going to get nothing in the end. You know, so they've got to see some progress and some financial reward.
Yeah, and I think at the moment we're seeing that confidence coming through with businesses wanting to invest, come into something and invest and base themselves here as well, because of that momentum that seems to be picking up at the moment. So you can see how important that is, and that confidence it breeds for people to come in and invest. Without
question, the word you mentioned there is momentum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's exactly the same, and you need that momentum, because then you get the track going. You get the vehicle going, and everybody starts jumping on the vehicle, and the more momentum you go, the more people. It's like, you know, when you play in the football team, if you get a good start, you get the momentum, the belief comes in, the confidence goes in, then you get into the middle of the season, and it's a hard slog in the middle where the games come thick and fast, and then you get to the end of the season, 3 or 4 months to go, you got that momentum, you can see where you are in the league, you can see how well you've done, you see how the performance, and all of a sudden the fans get up there, they can see the end of the season, and all of a sudden that momentum starts rolling.
Great. And obviously next year, hopefully when the bridge is open in August 25, we're hosting the Women's Rugby World Cup, which the draw was made last night. So the first England game, the opening game, the opening ceremony will be at the Stadium of Light. And then after that, the football season will start. So again, we'll probably see some more developments come through before that starts as well. So
without question, when I became a director, I was on the Stadium Design Subcommittee of the Etihad. And I had two targets. First of all, to make the stadium good for a match, for a game, for me footballers. Pitch, got Deso Grassmaster surface, and the one things I wanted to do, I wanted to make a good pitch for my players, good access in the dressing rooms and for the media, and also to make it work off match day for the conference facilities, because that's my business, and I used to have input onto the design of the conference rooms that they've got, the lighting, the partition walls, all that was input from me as well. So again, to make it work off match day, and that's what you're trying to do here now. It's a multi-purpose area, not just stadium, but area. It's multi-purpose, so there's activity, constant activity.
Yeah, and we've had some fantastic music concerts here as well, and I know you had some input into the sort of design around that as well for the stadium, and how it was important it was to have that capability of hosting music events and big sort of bands and stars from around the world.
Well, the architects were good, because I used to throw challenges at them. I said, what about that, and what about that, and how do you do that, and they came up with a big tunnel, big massive tunnel at one end where you can get articulated lorries through, where you can offload to build a big set at one end of the Etihad Stadium for acts. We had massive acts like you've had here, you know. So in essence, that makes it work. And I took Sir Bob Murray round my stadium before, when he was looking to build the Stadium of Light, and just point out one or two challenges we had, one or two things we looked at, and they managed to get that. Hope he's taken one or two ideas.
So obviously the Etihad was built on a former colliery site as well, and a lot of brownfield land, which is similar to what we're doing in Sunderland. So it's just to get your thoughts on the impact that has had on Manchester and the surrounding areas.
But the beauty was, it was indirectly, it was within contact of the city. within the main population area, and we were having links to that areas. But the regeneration around the area, on retail, on leisure, on residential, I mean, some beautiful estates there built around that area now, and it's booming every time on match day. You know, it's just a hive of activity of different kinds. You've got tourists coming in for the stadium. You've got local people have got their stadium. They've got local people in the bars and restaurants around. Within about 2 miles of the stadium on match day, leading up to the match, it's a hive of activity, and that's what you try and do. And then obviously when you've got shows at the theatre, the Co-op Live, when the development's finished at the new Etihad, there's a new development going, a 400-bedroom hotel, £300 million development, which allows us to have another 6,000 seats on the third tier. I mean, that again will develop the whole area. And the Beswick pit is no longer.
Yeah, and it's made a fantastic place for people to come, work and live, and for business to invest in that.
But what it is, it gives them their it's theirs. Mm-hmm. They can be proud of that and be part of that and say, we're part of Manchester, and look what we've got here. Look what Manchester can offer across all factors: theatre, leisure, sport, business, everything.
Yeah, and I think that's important that we recognise that as well, because the developments that we're doing, the housing that we're doing, is for the people of Sunderland primarily. So the jobs, the high quality jobs, the housing is for people who live in the city, for their future generations as well. So it's important that we have that connectivity with existing residents to see that this is for them, and for them to celebrate and champion and be proud of.
Yeah, because they can get on board the trip, because they know the project. The project is real, it's financially sound, it's been accepted by you guys, the council, the government, even the senior people, the businessmen have accepted it, and they're all got. So you've got a whole conglomerate of people from all structures of society, are all to one.
Yeah, so obviously all this doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of connectivity and a lot of partnerships and good sort of communication between everyone in terms of our private investors, the council, the club itself. So how did you feel that went in the early stages, and how it developed in Manchester?
It was essential. You know, we wouldn't have got it off the ground if we hadn't had support from the council. I mean, Sir Howard Bernstein, who was the leader of the council, who sadly died a year or so ago. We've got his memorial funeral on, I think it's 14th of November. But he was a real supporter. He was a driving force with the government, with the council. All those stakeholders got together to develop the Etihad, and he had visions. And now, round the Etihad, the residential area, I mean, as we've seen before, you go to around Etihad now, the skyscrapers, and they've got accommodation, you've got student accommodation, you've got regular accommodation, you've got bars, restaurants. So what happens, the Etihad now, with the development through Howard Bernstein and the council, they've brought the city and the stadium together.
Yes.
They've plugged that hole with residential accommodation, leisure. Fantastic.
Great, and I'm sure that's something that we're keen to build on what we're doing now and follow that sort of.
The more influential stakeholders you get on board, the better.
Brilliant. So Dennis, obviously, first time you've been back in the city for a few years, I suppose. So in your opinions, how good is it to see the transformation? How much has it changed since the last time you were in the city?
Certainly, I was here as a guest of the mayor on the Queen's birthday. I think 3 years ago, and we were here looking over the Stadium of Light. There was nothing in front of between here, the Stadium of Light, and now I come here. And I asked, when we went on the balcony, I said to one of the executives, what's happened below, because it was all waste ground and old buildings and industrial buildings. He says, oh, that's a whole new regeneration area. And now I come here. Oh, he wasn't joking. It was like fabulous, and that's what I love now. This development here is now bridging that gap between the people in the city and the people in the stadium, and it's bringing us all in one area.
Yeah, great. So just extending that city centre offer, I suppose. Yeah,
correct. Everybody now is together, and that's what you're looking for all the time. And it's nice to see the walkway, your Wembley Way. It's going to be fantastic. People can just walk across the bridge, come to the city, have some food, have some drinks, walk to the city, enjoy the 3 points, come back, and then do it again.
Yeah, so obviously the bridge opens next year, the New Footbridge. It'll be fantastic if we're back in the Premier League. We're top of the league at the moment, so hopefully next year we might have Man City back at the Stadium of Light and Premier League football back in the city as well.
Absolutely, without question. That's what you've got to target. Your target has got to be this area can fund a Premier League club. Before I die, and I'm going to say I'll upset somebody, I want to see Manchester City, Sunderland and Newcastle, because I'm from Newcastle, in the top half of the Premier League.
I think a lot of supporters would be happy with it. from all clubs.